Blood rushed to her ears like a siren in an empty street. Ashe's fingers trembled above the cracked screen of her technophone, her chest tight, breath shallow, caught between shock and shame. There it was, a message from someone she didn't follow, a name she didn't recognize. But it was what it said that made her stomach twist. $3,000. One night. I'll make it gentle. You choose the hotel. She sat in the corner of her dorm room, the paint peeling above her head, and the cold cement pressing against her bare thighs. The city outside, Addis Ababa, was alive. Traffic horns, barking dogs, distant music from some apartment party. But in here, inside the 4 suffocating walls of this college dormitory, Ashe was frozen. Just hours earlier, she had walked from class under the dry sun, the hem of her cheap skirt flapping as she stepped over puddles from last night's rain. She carried her books like they were heavier than they really were. The weight of a life lived on the edge of collapse. Her stomach had been hollow all day, not because she was dieting like some of the richer girls, but because there simply wasn't enough money for breakfast and lunch. Ashe was 19, a first-year law student. Smart, driven, from a small village in Amhara. Her mother had sold a goat and borrowed from their church to get her into this university. "Education is your dowry," her mother said the night she boarded the bus to Addis. That same voice now echoed in her head, but it didn't stop the panic rising in her chest. 3 days ago, her mother collapsed in the field. Malaria. No hospital nearby. The clinic needed 6,000 birr up front before treatment. And yesterday, her landlord had slipped an envelope under her door. A final notice. Rent due in 2 days or eviction. Ashe stared at the DM. She had laughed when she first saw it 2 days ago. Some man offering money for sex, sliding into her Instagram inbox like so many others. She had screenshots of these messages in a folder called Idiots. Some were crude, some poetic, some disguised as modeling offers, but this one was different. This one had a number, a real amount, something you could feel in your hands. Rent money, hospital money, maybe even enough to send home. She closed the message and threw her phone onto the mattress. But it kept calling her. That screen, that number, the idea of it. As night fell, Ashe lay on her back in the dark, staring at the cracks in the ceiling. Girls in the neighboring rooms were laughing, gossiping, boiling tea. One played music, an old Teddy Afro love song, over and over. But Ashe wasn't listening. Her eyes were fixed on the ghost of her future, one where she said no and ended up on the streets, one where her mother never recovered, one where her dreams of becoming a lawyer died before they even started. But in that moment, she told herself it would just be once. One man, one night, and she would never speak of it again. In the morning, Ashe washed her only pair of jeans and hung them out the window to dry. She brushed her hair slowly, tied it in a bun, and went to the internet cafe down the road. "There," she replied to the message. "Where and when?" The man responded instantly. He didn't ask her name. He didn't flirt. Just sent an address, a time, and a single emoji, a red heart. The place was fancy. She Googled it. A private guest house on the edge of the city, near Bowl. Photos showed white sheets, clean bathrooms, a view of the skyline. For a moment, Ashe imagined herself there, like the girls in the movies, silk dress, expensive perfume, walking confidently into a place that didn't belong to her. But nothing about this was romantic. That night, she bought Vaseline, shaved her legs, borrowed lipstick from a roommate. She took a photo of herself in the mirror, not to post, just to remember. Her eyes looked hollow. Not afraid, just gone. The next evening, Ashe walked to the minibus station, her hands hidden in her jacket pockets, eyes cast low. The city buzzed around her with 1,000 stories, vendors shouting, engines coughing, lovers arguing on street corners. But hers was silent. Inside, she repeated her plan like a prayer. Check in, lock the door, get it over with, collect the money, disappear. She arrived early. The receptionist was a woman, kind-eyed, who handed her a key without asking questions. Room 305, third floor. Ashe climbed the stairs slowly, her legs stiff, her breath shallow. Every step felt like betrayal of her mother, of her village, of herself. In the room, everything was too clean. The white sheets, the cold mirror, the mini fridge humming. She sat at the edge of the bed, phone in hand. No new messages. She waited. 30 minutes passed. Then an hour. Then 2, she texted him, no reply. She called, twice. But both times, it rang once, then went dead. She stood by the window, watching the streetlights flicker below. Her phone buzzed, finally, but it wasn't him. It was a message from a friend. Ashe, is this you? Attached was a screenshot of a Telegram post. Her photo, the same one she took in the mirror. Her name, her school, even her dorm address. And under it, Virgin Ethiopian for sale, $3,000 minimum bid. Ashe's knees buckled. The room spun. Her lungs shrank. She sank to the floor as the truth fell over her like a coffin lid. He was never coming. There was no $3,000. There was only her story, stolen and sold, like meat in a market. The next morning, Ashe couldn't look at herself in the mirror. The sun had barely risen over Addis Ababa, but her world was already drowning in darkness. She had barely slept. Her eyes were swollen, her lips dry, and her mind shattered into sharp pieces that cut deeper with every thought. She had returned from the guest house at 3 a.m. alone. No money. No man, no answers, only shame. Her body hadn't been touched, but something worse had happened. Her image, her name, her innocence had been taken and thrown into a digital fire. A fire she could not control. Her photo, the mirror selfie, was now everywhere. On Telegram, on Instagram stories, on fake escort sites, with captions that promised her fresh, untouched, discreet. Some comments laughed. Some offered prices. Others were disgusting. Some even claimed they had already been with her, lying just to sound powerful. She had never even kissed a boy before. Now her face was part of a lie that no one would question. Because once it's online, people believe anything. Ashe sat on the edge of her dorm bed, legs pulled to her chest, hands shaking. Her roommate was gone for the weekend. Thank God. She didn't want anyone to see her like this. She didn't want to answer the messages, not even from her close friends. One classmate had texted, "Are you doing hookups now?" Another asked, "How much for one night?" No one said, "Are you okay?" That was the worst part. How quickly the world turned cruel. No time to listen. No chance to explain. Just screenshots, gossip, and silence. Her phone kept vibrating. She turned it off. She didn't go to class that day. Or the next. She didn't eat. She didn't bathe. The shame had wrapped around her like a dirty blanket she couldn't pull off. Every second she felt like someone was watching her, judging, whispering, laughing behind closed doors. But deep inside, beyond the shame, there was something hotter. Anger. How could someone do this? Steal her image, her name, her future. Sell her like she was a thing? She remembered how clean the guest house was, how smoothly the message came, how easy it had felt, like a small choice. But now she saw it was a trap. Carefully built. Step by step, he never wanted to sleep with her. He just wanted her to agree, to send the photo, to give permission with her silence. That was enough. Ashe dragged herself out of bed and opened her laptop. The cheap secondhand device took 5 minutes to load, but she waited. Her eyes burned, her throat dry, but her fingers moved with purpose. She searched the Telegram group where her picture first appeared. The post was still up. Dozens of comments. People bidding, discussing her like an object. Her schoolmates. Older men, foreigners, and worse. There were others. Other girls. Other profiles. Some looked scared. Some looked drugged. Some were definitely underage. But all of them were part of the same lie. She clicked on the username that posted her photo. It was a fake account. No profile picture, no bio. Just one post, her. She messaged it anyway. Why did you do this? No reply. She waited. Please delete it. Still nothing. She closed the chat and sat there, heart pounding. She knew the truth now. This wasn't about sex. It was about power. About hunting girls like her. Girls who were poor, desperate, alone. Girls with dreams but no backup. She opened her browser and began searching how to report online exploitation in Ethiopia. Digital. Blackmail telegram Addis. Help for victims of fake escort. Pages. Most pages were in English. Difficult English. Some had broken links. One NGO had a WhatsApp number. She saved it. But her hands hesitated. What would she even say? That she agreed to meet a stranger? That she almost sold her virginity? That she was stupid? Would they help her or just judge her more? She closed the laptop. Stared at the wall. The paint was peeling near the ceiling. A water stain shaped like a heart had formed in the corner. She hated it. Suddenly the door knocked. Her breath caught. She froze. Another knock. Louder. Ashe? Are you in there? It was her roommate. Back early, she didn't answer. I know what happened, the voice said softer this time. Please open. I'm not here to laugh. Ashe sat in silence. Tears welled up again. I saw the photo, the girl continued. But I know you. I know you're not that person. Please open. Slowly, Ashe stood. Her legs were weak. Her hands still shook. She unlocked the door. The girl stepped in and hugged her tightly. Ashe hadn't been touched in days. She broke. She cried like a child, the kind of cry that doesn't make sound at first, just pain, pure and raw. They sat on the bed. The roommate brought tea. Ashe sipped it slowly. Warm, sweet, human. Then finally, she told her everything. From the DM to the guest house to the post. Every detail. No hiding. The roommate listened. Never interrupted. Her face stayed calm, but her fists were clenched. You were targeted, she said when Ashe finished. I've heard of this before. It's a network. They pretend to be clients but are really hunters. They do it to many girls, especially first years. Ashe's eyes widened. So I'm not the only one? No. You're just the one they caught this week. The roommate stood and pulled out her own phone. We're going to report it, together, and if that doesn't work, we'll expose them ourselves. Ashe felt something shift inside her. Not hope, not yet. But fight, she wasn't safe. She wasn't clean, but she wasn't finished either. Her innocence may have been sold without her touch, but her story still belonged to her, and she was ready to tell it. The sun had barely touched the blue haze of the Addis Ababa skyline when Ashe received the message that changed everything. It wasn't from the predator. Not from a friend. Not even from her roommate. It was from her lecturer. The notification lit up her phone while she sat quietly in the campus library. Her eyes red, her head down, pretending to read while her heart struggled to rebuild. The message was short. Ashe, come to my office. Now. Fear rushed through her chest like cold water. Had the school found out? Did they believe the rumors? Were they going to expel her? She stood slowly, legs shaking, the smell of old books and dust suddenly feeling heavy in her lungs. Students passed her, laughing, whispering. Some stared. She felt their eyes on her like knives. No one said her name. But she heard it anyway, like an echo behind every smile. She walked to the law department building in silence. Up the stairs, past the notice board. To the end of the hallway, where her lecturer, Mr. Barraquette, kept his office. A dark wooden door, always slightly open. She knocked. Come in. His voice was calm, but sharp. He didn't look up as she entered. Just pointed to the chair in front of his desk. Ashe sat, trying not to cry. Her fingers tightened around the strap of her bag. He finally looked up. Not angry. Not warm either, just watching. Ashe, he said. I saw what they posted. She looked down. It's a lie, she whispered. I know, he replied. Her eyes darted up. You believe me? I do, he said. Because I've seen this before. That's when he leaned forward and took out a file from his drawer. Inside were printed screenshots, photos, names, messages, girls. Some she recognized from campus. Others were strangers. Some were smiling in photos, others crying. All of them were victims. "This has been going on for months," Mr. Barraquette said. "We started collecting evidence last semester. Quietly. Most girls were too scared to talk. You're the first to come forward." Ash's mouth went dry. "But how did they find me?" He sighed. "Because someone gave them your name." Her chest tightened. "Who?" He pulled out one more photo, a blurry screenshot from a video. But she knew the face. Her roommate. No. No, no, no. The tea. The hug. The kind voice. The offer to help. She was the one who told her to stay quiet. To avoid the school. To delete everything. She was the one who said, "Let me handle it." It was her, the betrayal. Hit harder than anything before. Her roommate had pretended to be her friend. Just long enough to watch her drown, Mr. Barraquette explained it. Carefully, slowly. He had been working. With a small team, a journalist, a tech student, and one of the school counselors, to try and expose the network. But they had no proof until now. "They call it the auction chain," he said. "They target girls who post alone, who look soft, who come from outside the city. They don't need you to sleep with anyone. They just need your photo, your silence, and your shame." "And my roommate?" Ashe whispered. "She's one of them. A recruiter. Probably promised a cut of the money. Maybe just pressured. But she's involved." The ground beneath Ashe's feet felt like it cracked open. All those nights, studying together, laughing, borrowing clothes. Was it all a lie? Was she always just a target? Ashe shook her head. "What do we do now?" Mr. Barraquette slid a piece of paper toward her. "A phone number. A safe house. A lawyer. You have two choices," he said. "Stay quiet and let it happen to the next girl. Or speak and help us bring them down." Ashe stared at the paper. Her hand trembled. She could already hear the backlash. The whispers. The shame. What if no one believed her? What if people said she wanted it? That she enjoyed the attention? But then she thought of the other girls. The faces in the screenshots. The ones who hadn't been strong enough to speak. The ones who disappeared. She thought of her mother, lying in a village bed, still waiting for medicine. She thought of the little girl she once was, smart, proud, pure, who dreamed of becoming a lawyer to protect people who couldn't protect themselves. And she made her choice. "I want to fight," she said. Mr. Barraquette nodded once, not a smile, just respect. That night, Ashe met the others, the journalist, the counselor, the hacker boy from IT who used to sell fake certificates but now used his skills for something bigger. Together, they pulled back the digital curtain and found the ugly heart of the machine. They tracked IP addresses, followed Telegram groups, collected voice notes, bank transfers, and messages. The network was bigger than they thought. It wasn't just students. It included hotel workers, drivers, even a known photographer who took professional pictures for free and then sold them. But at the center was a man they called Solomon. No face. No voice, just a username. The one who posted Ashe's photo. Solomon was the one who turned girls into auctions. And Ashe, the girl from the village, the quiet one, the virgin they tried to sell, would be the one to destroy him. Solomon fell. It didn't happen with sirens or handcuffs. It happened with a whisper. One so loud it echoed across the whole campus. It began with a post. One quiet Thursday morning, just before lectures started, a new telegram message appeared in the same channel where Ashe's photo had once been sold. Only this time, the post wasn't selling a girl. It was exposing everyone, the faces of the predators, the list of bank accounts used for payments, voice notes of men negotiating, for girls as if they were buying cattle, map of hotels known to host the auctions, and finally, a user named Solomon the Fixer. The message read, "You hunted us. Now we hunt you. These girls were never for sale. This city has daughters. And they remember." Ashe stood in the hallway when her phone buzzed with the notification. She opened it slowly, her heart pounding. Her photo was no longer there. Instead, there was a picture of her, standing proudly, looking into the camera. Fully dressed, no makeup, no filters, just her truth. The caption said, "This is Ashe. She was almost destroyed, but now she leads the fire that burns the chain." Her knees almost gave out. She didn't post it. Someone from the team did. Maybe the journalist. Maybe the hacker. Maybe Mr. Barraquette. But it didn't matter. It was done. The truth was finally louder than the lies. That afternoon, the university exploded in whispers and chaos. Screenshots passed from phone to phone. The group chat leaked everywhere. Even parents started calling. Police arrived on campus. Not to arrest Ashe, but to investigate, finally. And the biggest shock? Solomon wasn't a stranger. He was on campus. A fourth-year engineering student. Always quiet, well-dressed, known for fixing computers. No one suspected him. He didn't flirt. He didn't party. But behind his calm face, he ran the whole operation. He recruited girls through fake accounts, paid others to deliver names, just like Ashe's roommate, sold photos, arranged meetings and posted lies to Telegram channels with tens of thousands of men waiting to buy. He never touched anyone. That was the trick. He just created the market. Let others do the damage. When the police came for him, he denied everything. But the hacker had already copied his phone. The evidence was there. Messages, payment logs, fake profiles, even a spreadsheet with names, ages, and photos, a full price list of victims. And at the top of the list, Ashe. Next to her name, Virgin. High value. Reserve $3,000, she felt sick. He had never spoken to her, never seen her in person, and yet he had owned her with a single DM. For days after the arrest, Ashe couldn't sleep. The headlines ran wild. News blogs published articles. TV stations called her a brave survivor. Some girls started messaging her privately, thanking her. Others told her their own stories, things they had never told anyone before. But there were also the haters, the ones who said she brought it on herself, that she replied to the DM, that she took the photo, that she was just angry because she didn't get paid. Ashe learned something hard that week. The truth doesn't always heal. Sometimes it just reveals. Still, she kept showing up. She stood in classrooms when people stared. She walked past boys who had once laughed at her, but now lowered their heads. She wore the same jeans, the same bag, the same tired shoes, but her eyes were different now. Sharp, clear, unafraid. Weeks passed. The court case began. Solomon's arrest led to more. 4 students, 2 drivers, a photographer, 1 hotel manager. The roommate ran away but was caught in Bahir Dar trying to leave the country. Her face appeared on the news. When Ashe saw it, she didn't feel revenge. She felt empty. Because betrayal always hurts worse than abuse. But something beautiful was also rising from the ashes. A small team, the same people who helped. Ashe started a digital protection club for girls. They gave workshops, visited dorms, printed flyers about digital traps and scams. Ashe was asked to speak at the first session. At first, she refused. She didn't want to relive the pain. She didn't want people to label her again. But on the night before the event, she dreamed of her mother. In the dream, her mother was sweeping their old house. Dust in the air, sunlight through the window. She looked at Ashe and said, "You lost nothing. They just tried to steal your light. Now let others see it." Ashe woke up crying. She went to the event, told her story slowly, honestly, without shame. She didn't cry. She didn't hide. And when she finished, the room was silent. Then one girl stood up and clapped, then another and another, until the whole hall was filled with hands, clapping, not pointing. Later that month, Ashe took a bus back home to her village. Her mother was recovering. Still weak but smiling, the goat had been replaced by a chicken. Their neighbors had heard the story on the radio. Some avoided her. Others hugged her, but one little girl came running to her holding a notebook. "Aren't you the lawyer from the city?" she asked. Ashe smiled. "Not yet." "You will be," the girl said. "You fight monsters." Ashe laughed, and for the first time in a long time it felt real.